Right. So I'm just going to do some looking to see if stream is coming up. Aha. Alright, testing out this is all new to me, so I'm just trying this. I have a little laptop with the chat up. And let's have a look what the lag is like. Interesting. One, two. Okay then. Alright, well let's get this show on the road then. I'm just going to play in... let's play an open for a while. Right, well, this is Commander Humbo, and this is the second of the live streams that I've done so far, so this is another experiment. I'm trying a different microphone setup here. I'm actually using an SM58. An SM58 is a vocal microphone used by performers, because I am a performer. And it has a cartoid response area, which means that we shouldn't be picking up any sounds from like the computer or anywhere else. It's not a broadcasting microphone, so you won't hear all the lovely deep sounds that you get from people who have got proper broadcasting microphones, but it should be a heck of a lot better than just using a headphone microphone. And I'm using an HPN4 as a interface, and I've also got my headphones into the HPN4, and I've got a little laptop at the side here so I can see if anybody actually comes along as a viewer. I'm not expecting anybody to come along as a viewer. This is really just for my own chronicle, really. It's just something I can look back on, because I think this is an important turning point for the Elite Dangerous game, where we're about to embark on this narrative-driven update for the return of the Thargoids. So the first thing I wanted to do is that's going to happen on September the 26th, about 10 days away, and during that time I'm going to be heading home, basically. I'm just gonna point my nose home and head back. First thing I want to do is just turn down the... Actually, I'm going to turn off the music for a little while. So one of the things I'm going to be doing while I'm just travelling and not really talking much is playing some music, and the music I'll be playing... Oh, somebody's scanning me. The music I'll be playing is going to be from local bands in the BC area. So obviously, as I'm playing them, I'm going to be shouting them out. I think that's important, and I'll also, when I get round to editing the video description, I'll put a name in there and a link if I can find one. Because being part of the ooh, what's he doing? Oh, he's elite. Is he? He is indeed. Okay, let's See if we can open fire on him before he dies.
Under attack. Target shields offline.
Spot of bounty hunting before the long road home. I should probably go and... oops. And pop goes the eagle. Wow, 400 bounty, I'm rich. Okay.
Cannot comply.
So let's put our weapons away. And we'll
Cannot comply.
get out of here for a start. And we're going to be heading back to the local station,
Cannot comply.
wherever that is. There.
Cannot comply.
Did you get the impression that she cannot comply? I think so too.
Cannot comply.
I was reading on the forums today, I was just having a look at
Cannot comply.
a lot of the comments about the trailer which came out. I thought the trailer was really good, and I thought they were fairly upfront saying this is a cinematic trailer, it's not meant to be representative
Cannot
of
comply.
gameplay, and don't expect your characters to talk. And there are a lot of comments like, you know, you can't have a wing of 5 ships, you can't do this, you can't do that in the game, so it's not representative of play. Well, I mean, from my perspective, it's meant to be part of the narrative, so they're just showing something of what we're up against when it comes to the Thargoids, and I, like a lot of other people, are hoping that it's not just going to be
Cannot comply.
oh, why am I not able to put away my... For some reasons my normal bindings for putting away my weapons aren't working. This is interesting. Not too sure why that is. Let me come out of the... No, I'm not getting any... Oh, interesting. Okay, boost is working. I can switch my fire groups. I'm not able to put stuff away though. And that's weird. And I'm firing chaff off for some reason. This is very strange. Okay, that's working. This is all very strange. I'm going to exit out and come back in again because I don't know what's going on here. Alright, let's have a look at my options. Controls. No, I'm on custom, that's fine. Interesting. This could be the shortest live stream ever. Let's have a look. I'll tell you what, I will go into solo play, see if that makes any difference. Okay, weapons are out. Weapons are deploying. Weapons are retracting. Weird. I'm sure there's a reason for that, but I have no idea what it was. Alright, so... Lock and Super Cruise.
Frameshift drive charging.
Anyway, coming back to my original
4, 3,
point about what was on the forums, there was a lot of people saying that this is not representative, and they were giving various reasons as why they were skeptical about what was going to happen. I myself am really excited, so and I think the people from Frontier are really excited about it. I think if there's one thing that I will acknowledge is that I've been really impressed with the Frontier developments. I know some people are just innately cynical of any developers and believe that it's all about money or trying to pull the wool over the eyes of the poor old gamers, but I myself, I don't think that's true of Frontier. I think they're a very passionate group of people who want the game to be as wonderful and as marvelous and technically adept as possible, and I think that everything that annoys the players about the game probably annoys them about the game as well, and they would dearly like it to be perfect, but it's, you know, the realities is that creating these sort of games is extremely difficult, and they're still a relatively small software company, getting bigger, but they're still
orbital flight engaged.
not a Bethesda or a EA. So I think they're doing a wonderful job, and oh, that was extremely badly done. 165 kilometers. Oh well. So I think one of the... Let's go to outside view. This is my ship, the Cleopatra. She's an ASP scout. As I was explaining in the other game, probably not the most wonderful exploring ship in the world. It has, I think I've got about a 35 light year range. I do have some Genponium, and I do occasionally use the neutron stars to increase the range of my jump drive. Actually, this is going to take too long, isn't it? We'll
Frameshift drive charging.
skip out into Super Cruise a little bit.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Oh dear. Oh well. Let's not bother. We'll just fly down there. It won't take very long. Well, while we're waiting, let's play some of the local music. What have we got here? We've got a... I probably need to turn that up a little bit, don't I? I'm going to turn my game sound down a little bit.
I ain't got a home. Clothes on my back, I don't need no comb. Can't wait to feel you in my arms till I die. To tell this world how I love your sweetest laugh. what your joy brings me, even through a photograph. Can't wait to feel you in my arms till I die.
This is a guy called Dan Pettit, and
The sun is shining
he plays with a young
all over my
a
life.
violinist
And
whose
now,
name
baby,
escapes me at the
you're
moment, but
reason
I think her
for
name's something like
the
Laura.
season of my new
Possibly.
disguise.
I'll write all this down in the notes. But they came up to BC. I live in BC in Canada, and they played in the local theatre in Mission. We have what we'll call coffee house concerts, and we get a lot of the local acts here, and they play. In fact, we're going to be playing here next year. Mark Karen, which is the little duo that I'm in. Have a little look around.
Every plan I make involves your sweet company. Can't wait to feel you in my arms.
Now, from what I understand, we're only allowed to do a 2-hour at most stream. So I don't know how far we're going to get, but we will see. I'm not totally sure how long we've been going already.
The sun is shining all over my life, and now, baby, you're the reason for the season of my new disguise. The sun is shining.
So after the
All over
gig that these two played, we all went back to a lady called Lisa's house, and she's Lisa Nesson. She organises a lot of the local music. She's also the owner of a business called Stepping Stone Music. Oh, flight control, that'll be getting there. And
the sun is shining all over my life, and now, baby, you're the reason for the season of my new disguise.
and we all had a jam together, and it was great fun. That's one thing I love being about a musician, is just meeting other musicians and jamming with them.
All over my life, and now, baby, you're the reason for the season of my new disguise.
There's something weird going on with this.
Baby, you're the reason
I'm not exactly
for
sure
the season of
what
my
it is.
new disguise. Yeah.
This is a weapon-free zone, Commander. Acts of aggression will not be tolerated.
Ah, there we go.
Request approved. Set down on landing pad 05.
Yeah, I do. I have the head look on the using the D-pad, and the D-pad is also the is also what we use to select things. So if I forget to turn head look off, I can't select things. Amusingly
Reports of
enough,
heavy traffic. Approach at a safe speed, Commander.
normally not a problem, but this is a
Landing
new
gear
experience for
deployed.
me, trying to talk and stream and fly a ship all at the same time.
Scan detected.
Right, so we'll fuel up, make sure we're all repaired.
Landing complete. Commence system shutdown. We are pleased to receive you,
Not so
Commander.
unconfident. Is there any special way? I only held you a
And this
short
guy here is
time.
actually me from a long time ago. This was recorded about 15 years ago in Auckland in New Zealand. I haven't got anything to sell in cartographics. Don't think so. I've got stuff, but I don't think I'm far enough away to sell it.
Being so close, there's more than I ever realized.
The other thing I wanted to see was whether it's worth fitting a passenger cabin. Nope, because there's nothing available.
Do I have the right?
Okay, I'm not going to bother to look around for that. Nope. It's like nothing's going on.
Now that we are apart,
Apparently they're having problems with this
I want us to
CG,
be together.
so that's going to be extended a little bit.
Why do I always put myself down? This is something
Alright then.
we all do. Will I ever
And what I will do is I will
will I ever have you?
have a look at the galaxy map.
Darken your eyes, darken your soul. Do I have the right to have you near me?
Interesting. Okay.
Thoughts you won't share. The sign of you.
Well, that's interesting. I haven't noticed that before. This is the first time I've noticed any slowdown due to the streaming, I think. Let's have a look at that. Look at that. Interesting. Normally I get no slowdown whatsoever in the map, but here I am getting slowdown. Wow. There you go. Obviously, with a 1050 Ti, you don't have enough power to stream and run at full frame rate. I think it'll be a problem for most things. Alright. So the idea is that we're going to make our way back to the bubble. And so I shall set sail for the closest. I'll probably spend a little time in each of these stations, but the first one is a ways away. Right. Okay, might be quicker if I just select that using the mouse. No. Nope. Nope. Okay. Let's do it the old method. Now, that's 4,000 light years away, so there is no way that I'm going to be able to get there at the moment. Of course, with the new route plotting, I would be able to just plot that, but no. So I will pick somewhere halfway between me and it. Let's go down a bit. Pick a random star. We probably need to take our filtering off. Yes, we do. What we want is star type. Star class, yay. And then we'll just do the I'll be a fine girl, kiss me. Okay. And see if we can get to one of these ones. How far away is that one? That one is still nearly 2,000 light years. Wow. Okay. We want something a bit closer. Let's have a look in there. Nope, still too far. Bit closer. Nope. I think, if anything, I'm getting further away. Well, that's strange. Let's go there. There. That will do. Now, is it going to be able to plot to it? Yes, no, no, yes. And there we go. What are we using to plot with? Are we plotting fastest routes? Let's try fastest routes. No boost. Okay then. That will take a while, I'm pretty sure. 31 gems. Alright then, well, off into the wild blue yonder. I'm going to turn the music down a little bit. Turn this down a little bit. Because I like to listen to music, but I don't have it too loud. How's that? Actually, you know what? Yeah, that's good. Oh, that's fine.
Hey, talk of consequence, no use running blind.
Okay, let's get out of here
Why
then.
not make a difference? Why not speak our mind?
My mind's racing, racing on thoughts of a happy little human race. The kind we are.
Ship restraints withdrawn. You may depart when
Hey,
ready.
talk of consequence, no use running blind. Why not make a difference? Why not speak our
Landing gear retracted.
mind? Then here's our cheat. Throw some my way. Mixed up minds are coming between us
Clear of the port
today.
perimeter. Flight control
A
out.
talk of consequence, no use running blind. Why not make a difference? Why
Here we
not
go then.
speak our mind?
Gotta be staying in my pocket. Got something to say. Might you humor me just for today?
3, 2,
A talk of consequence, no use running blind. Why not make a difference? Why not speak our mind?
fuel scooping. Fuel scoop disengaged.
Fear, conviction.
Yeah, there's definitely some weird stuff going on with the controller. I don't know whether it's because I'm streaming or what it is, but it's doing some strange stuff. Everything else seems to be working. System map. Map. See, that's a bit weird as well. The zoom's not working quite well. So yeah, interesting.
Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one, engage.
been a while since I've done a long trip. I've been floating around Colonia for the last few months, and my alternative commander is pretty much a noob.
Fuel skipping.
Snapshot of the future, see it so clear. People still struggling, cause they live in fear. Let's take a thought,
Interesting.
expand a view of honor and grace, building castles new.
So we're just doing what they call jonking, jumping and honking.
Why not make a difference? Why not speak our minds? A talk of consequence, no use running blind. Why not make a difference? Why not speak our minds? Why not speak our minds?
Frameshift drive charging.
This is a band called Chicken Like Birds.
3, 2, 1.
A chap called Ari and a girl called Jasmine. Jasmine plays the bass and sings, and Ari plays guitar and sings. It's really cool.
Fuel skipping.
Riding over to that green hillside. We start at the top and then down we go. We fly the whole way home, and we fly just like,
Anything there?
fly just like them clouds in the sky.
Now I'm only going to stop if I see an earthlight. Basically, otherwise I'm just going for it.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Maybe very little that I'm going to stop for in this one.
Frameshift drive charging.
Got a friend in town. They let me take along with the high school crowd. I saw some things I ain't never seen. The woods were wise like in a dream. They
4,
say
3, 2, 1. Engage.
sometimes you just gotta let loose.
Sometimes you just gotta let
Sometimes you
loose.
just gotta be
Sometimes you just gotta be
Sometimes you just gotta let
reckless.
go.
Sometimes you just gotta let it go. And
Don't always just do what you were told.
Fuel scooping.
We're riding on bikes on Saturday night. We going to the schoolhouse to vandalize. We gonna beautify that wall with the spray painted hand. And we fly just like, we fly just like.
Yeah, this is not the best fuel scoop in the world.
Leaves behind.
I'm sure I'd be a lot faster if I had a lot larger fuel scoop. What's that?
Fuel scooping complete.
We gotta go, we gotta go,
Huh.
we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. We gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go.
Frameshift drive charging.
Oh, nice. Already damaged my modules. Just started out. Did I damage them? Ooh, a little bit. Data link scanner.
Frameshift drive charging.
I've got no I've got no auto field maintenance unit or anything like that.
Sometimes you just gotta be
Sometimes you just gotta be reckless. Sometimes you just gotta let it go. Don't always just do
3,
what you are
2,
told.
1. Engage.
me home to the mist down below. I'll be flying come September day. With no borders in my way, you'll find me home until the day sun burns the heavy mist down below. And I see the rivers flooding strong, people wishing they belong, free for anywhere they wanna go. When they pray, they can look to the sky and they see me as I pass by, heading for the mist down below.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Without fields ripe from rain, there ain't no way to feed my pain. Dreaming of the mist down below.
Frameshift
Down
drive
below
charging.
is not my fate. There is no land where I came, not even mist of old Mexico. And I see the rivers flooding strong, people wishing they belong, free for anywhere they want to go. When they pray, they can look to the sky and they see me as I pass by, heading for the mist down below.
Fuel scooping.
So I looked hard at reasons for the drifters blowing door to door, dreaming of the mist down below. Sure they'd go anywhere they could if wings became their neighborhoods, and there would be nowhere they wouldn't know. And I see the rivers flooding strong, people wishing they belong, free for anywhere that they wanna go. When they pray, they can look to the sky and they see me as I pass by, heading for the mist down below. Heading for the mist down below.
Interesting.
Heading for the mist down below.
Well, no.
Frameshift drive charging.
I'm too tired to be sleeping. There's a warrior in my soul. She's burning up
Three,
a candle,
2, 1.
ready to hit the road.
Well, welcome to the good ship Cleopatra. On my way home to Cologne, well, from Colonia to the bubble, to greet our new alien overlords. Sure, that's going to be really interesting.
Fuel scooping.
I'm pretty sure that I, for one, will be looking on from the sidelines when the first contacts are made. I think a lot of people are expecting to just die to begin with. It'll be interesting though, because I'm sure that Frontier are aware that a lot of people are kind of expecting this to be just a combat. I'd really like to see something more than just combat. Some intrigue, perhaps a faction in the Thargoids that we don't know about. Well, apparently there is a couple of factions that everyone knows about. I can't remember what they're called. Calaxians and Ares or something like that. Arisians. So, from the lore, the Calaxians are the ones that are extremely hostile, and the ones that originally had the war with the humans. The Arisians, not so much. So, you never know. There might be a possibility of making friends with those guys. I'd like to see the Guardians be involved somehow. I know the Guardians are supposed to be extinct, but
3.
obviously their technology is still around.
Engage.
And I'm sure that there are some really good storytellers in the Frontier team. I mean, Michael Brooks is a novelist. So I can't imagine they would take this opportunity to make narrative-driven content and then just make it a straight fight between us and them. That just seems unlikely. And I know that part of what they were trying to do is to make it a dynamic, to make it a dynamic story, so it dependent on what we do in the game. But I'm hoping they've figured out all the branches and made all of the branches somehow compelling in some way or other.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what they're doing. I mean, they've got a good background story. All of the novels that Drew Wagar created, Elite Reclamation,
4,
Elite
3,
Redemption.
2,
Sorry, is it
1.
Redemption?
Engage.
Can't remember. And the latest one, Elite Premonition. And they got some great characters. And they've been building up a sort of slow burn story. I think for a lot of people, too slow burn. And I think now's the time it's going to get exciting. That's what I believe anyway. It's a great time on the forums to see a lot of theories about what's going to happen. If you can clear away the filter of some of the negativity that we get on the forums, unfortunately. And no, I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm also looking forward to engaging with the community more than I have done in the
Fuel
past.
scoop disengaged.
I've really kind of stood off on my own and
Charging.
done my own thing. I've occasionally hooked up with other commanders and gone bounty hunting or done a little bit of multi-crew with them. But it's been very rare, so I'd like to actually get involved
4, 3,
in a particular group. If I see the story going a particular way and there's a community or there's a faction in the Elite Dangerous community that is doing what I think should be done, I'd like to get in contact with them, join up with them, and really get involved. I think, I've been playing this game since
fuel
the
scooping.
premium beta in 2013, was it? And no, I think it was 2014 was the premium beta. So I've been playing for 3 years, and I feel it was about time that I actually really started to engage with the community in general. So this is part of the reason why I'm doing this live stream, is just to experiment with the technology. I'm an old school. I was an original Elite player back in 1984. So I know the Thargoids well from then. In the old days, they were just simply the guys that pulled you out of witch space and tried to kill you, and that was all they did. So, but I think this time it's going to be different. You could, when they pulled you out, the first thing they would do, they would launch a bunch of little, what were called Tharglets or Thargons, little fighters at you. And what you would do is concentrate on the mothership, because if you could knock out the mothership, then all the Thargons could be scooped up, and you could take them away and you could sell them. Oh, we have a phone. Right, back again. Yeah, so I'm like interested to see what they do with it. If you go back through the history of Elite, the first one was all about just a war. It was just a war between the Thargoids and the humans, and really they were just the generic bad guys. They floated around in octagonal ships. They pulled you out of witch space. They attacked you. That was about it. And you could, as I say, you could disable them and scoop up the Thargons, and you could go and sell them. And that was about really all you had to do as far as interaction with them is concerned. And then Elite 2, Frontier, they were gone. Completely disappeared. There was no trace of them whatsoever. Although, if you looked on certain planets, you could find, I think there were secret military installations that you could go and visit. Oh, really? We got another phone call. Of course we have. Just a minute.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Oh, we're back again. It's always the way. You go and do a live stream for the first time ever, and guess what? Well, second time ever, and people start phoning you, and I haven't got a way of stopping them. That's all right. Life happens. Anyway, so in Frontier, they were just gone. You could see them at secret military installations, and that was about it. And they didn't play any real part in that. This is my controller's doing strange things. It's doing the scanner all the time. So, and then in Frontier First Encounters, which was Elite 3, they were a very big part of that. There was a huge storyline around them. That's where the whole thing about the mycoid virus came from.
3, 2, 1.
And that mycoid virus has become now part of the canon for Elite Dangerous. It's actually been confirmed on the Galnet that there was an organisation called INRA that had a kind of clandestine campaign against the Thargoids and developed this virus that knocked out their hyperdrives. So I better collect a bit more of that and let my fuel go down. And but a lot of the storyline, I think, from Frontier First Encounters has since become, well, it's difficult because in Frontier First Encounters you had different branches that you could go down. You could become friendly with the Thargoids, and you could, that's going to get annoying real quick, isn't it? And you could go off and help them with the mycoid virus, and they would reward you with a ship, or you could side against them and attack them. Yeah, I don't know. There we go.
2, 1. Engage.
So now with Elite Dangerous, they've kind of reiterated on the lore, and it includes some of the first game, and kind of the
Fuel scooping.
the kind of war that we had with them, and it includes some of the the mycoid virus stuff, and the rest is kind of down to us now. We have to decide what we're going to do. Now, as people have commented, the normal things for players to do when they meet something new is to
Fuel
attack it.
scoop disengaged.
And some of them would argue that in Elite Dangerous you don't really have a great deal of ways of interacting with things. You can scan things, scoop things, or shoot them. Or if you...
Frameshift drive charging.
So I think the idea is that we're hoping that there will be extra ways of interacting with them, and perhaps they'll bring those out as new mechanics in the
Ready to
game.
engage.
Oop.
4, 3, 2, 1.
They may do, they may
Engage.
not. But I'm thinking they will. And I'm also thinking that they will be enlarging on, if you look at the latest trailer that they did, they're obviously starting to get into the whole idea of having cinematic storytelling. And Elite isn't a game that you can do that on an individual basis, because we're all
Fuel scooping.
just commanders in a huge universe. You can't really have a hero story for every single commander. So I'm assuming that those cinematics will be, each phase will be introduced, as it were, by a little bit of storytelling. So the first one is about the Aegis, the scientific alliance between the Empire and the Federation and the Alliance that has gone off and willy-nilly shot missiles at the Thargoids. We're assuming they had reasons to do that, but probably not. I'm just going to hold my finger on the trigger and see if it stops it from keep going. Okay, seems to be doing it. What seems to be happening with my controller is that some of the controllers are kind of working in an inverse way. If you tap them, they work as though you're holding them, and if you hold them, they work as if you're tapping them. It's strange.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Alright then. Just let it go.
Frameshift drive charging.
And I've noticed this happen before on occasion, but I've got a feeling it's because of the streaming. I think for whatever reason, having this many USB inputs at one time is just
4, 3, 2.
too difficult for my poor little computer. What I'll probably do, this is just using the NVIDIA inbuilt streaming tools. What I'll probably do for the next one is have a little look at OBS and see if I can figure out how that works and have a bit more of a play.
Fuel scooping.
It's a learning experience for me. I've not done this stuff before. But it's fun. My son, if you look up on YouTube or Twitch, I think he streams on both. He streams under the name of Tartan Kiwi. And he does a lot of Overwatch streaming. And he also does Overwatch cosplay. So he's got a nice little group of people who follow him around. And he's famous for doing imitations of a character called McCree. He's a sort of Western gunslinger character in Overwatch. So it'll be interesting. I might surprise him and join him on one of his streams. He'll be like, "Oh, Dad, do you have
Fuel
to?"
scoop complete. Frameshift drive charging.
There's nothing. Oh, that's no.
Frameshift drive charging.
Nope. Yeah, this controller's doing strange things. It's like I was just trying to stop it from charging the frameshift drive then, and it was going into the system map. So it's playing silly buggers with me.
Frameshift drive charging.
How many more jumps? 60 more jumps. Right, okay. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
When Elite first came out, when it first came out, and we had the whole mile wide, inch deep thing, and everyone was saying, "Oh, there's nothing to do. It's boring. You've got this whole galaxy," and I can see where they came from if you compared it to
Fuel scooping.
a full-featured AAA title. But there's nothing really similar in its genre. I mean, the space sim genre is pretty thin. There is the X series of games. What else was there? You could get open source thing called Pioneer, but not multiplayer. There's EVE Online, of course. But EVE Online, I've played a bit of EVE Online, and it is your typical MMO where you just kind of point and click to where you want to go.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Let me just have a look on the map to see if there's anything interesting. No, nothing at all. Okay then, onwards and upwards.
Frameshift drive charging.
So when it first came out, I think it was what they call a framework. It was a place for things to go. And then over the last couple of years, they've added things, and yet there's always been that
Engage.
level of criticism for it being a game where there's not a huge amount to do. I don't think that's true anymore. I mean, I have no problem playing this for hours on end. I mean, what I'm doing at the moment, this long distance travelling, is really probably the most boring thing you can do. It's just really jumping from one star to another.
Fuel scooping.
And it's almost more like a meditation practice as far as game is concerned. The best thing to do if you're doing something like this in Elite is, if you're doing long distance journeying, is just put on a good audiobook, put on some good music, and it's just like fishing. That's the nearest thing I can think about it. You're just doing a similar set of things over and over again. Every now and again something interesting might happen. You might find an Earth-like or an ammonia world, and you might go and have a little look at it, or you might want to fly down to a planet and sit on it and have a little look around. But really, there's not much to do out here. But weirdly enough, it's one of the most, for me, it's actually one of the most enjoyable parts of playing the game. I every now and again I will head out and play some good music. Talking of music, what have we got on here? Let's see if we can find some good people.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Alright, this is a local guy from BC. He's called Hot Dog Brown. If you like blues and swing and jazz and stuff like that,
Fuel scooping.
Chasing little girls all around town. Let them take me
And,
home just for a one night stand. Morning,
play a little bit of that.
I'll be on the lam. I said I guess I wasn't looking. Now,
So you play a little bit of good music, and
and when it's too late, did I see?
you chill out for a couple of hours, flying from star to star, and it's actually quite relaxing.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
It's like my wife will sit down and she'll play Farmville for hours on end, or she'll play something or other, and I'm thinking, why? What's the interest in that? What's the interest in growing food? But then she could say, what's the interest in flying from place to place and doing pretty much the same thing over and over again?
Fuel scooping.
But there is just something about this game. Part of it is that my 30 years of relationship with Elite, the fact that when it came out, I had no idea how they managed to fit so much into such a little game. You have to remember that when Elite came out, your typical game was like something where you had 3 lives and you had a score, and that was really it. It was extremely basic gaming at that time. I think there were a few RPGs, but nothing with this kind of level of, to use that horrible word, that level of immersion. Oh, here's my character. Actually, let's not do that, because I shall probably fly into a star if I do that.
Fuel scooping disengaged.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's a good guy, Harddog Brown. I've been to see him. He's one of the few local musicians I haven't actually had a chance to jam with. Was there anything interesting in this? No, really.
Frameshift drive charging.
So I've got a whole bunch of other musicians on my playlist. I've got
4, 3,
a gentleman named Brandon Isaac, who's a really good blues performer. I've got a band called Jack Garden and the Demon Squad, another wonderful musician. These are all guys you can look up anywhere. There's a gentleman called Michael Jansen who plays in a band called Roads Unknown. Chicken Like Birds, I think I mentioned earlier. So where I live in Canada, in Mission, really has this amazing music scene. So I feel very lucky as a musician to be part of that. I mean, I've played music in the UK, I've played music in New Zealand, I've done recording, I've done gigs. I think in the UK I was actually part of a pretty successful band. But really I've not really experienced anything quite as rich as it is here.
Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging.
So I very much enjoy going out and playing music with these guys. How many jumps have we got left to do? Oh, did I? Oh, I didn't hit the scanner. Don't think I'm going to get the scan. Oh, just about.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
But yeah, the long-term relationship with Elite, I think it was the game that for me opened up my eyes to just what videos games could really be. And I remember when I was playing, I think it was around the time that I started to play Frontier, I could imagine in the future there being a similar game to Elite where people were all playing online and they could, talk to each other freely, and it would be like having a second life. And this is pretty much that game. I mean, if I had a VR headset on, it would be like having a second life. I mean, in my imaginations, I also had the ability to get out of the ship. So it was the full-on everything simulator, kind of like where Star Citizen is trying to get to.
Disengaged. Frameshift drive charging.
And that was what I was imagining, and that was about in the 90s, I guess. That was a kind of a daydream of mine, and I was always looking out for that game that was going to come along and give me that kind of experience.
Engage.
So here we are, nearly 20 years later, and we've got Elite Dangerous, which is based on the original Elite, which was the game I fell in love with. We have Star Citizen, which I'm pretty sure, as long as they don't run out of money, will be an amazing. You get a lot of people being very derisive about Star Citizen because it's taken so long to get where they are. But then if you just look at what they're trying to achieve, this game from an FPS standpoint where you can go anywhere, do anything, and they're trying to build all of these really complex mechanics into it, I cannot see that being a released game in less than like 2 years, I think. I mean, Alpha 3 is going to be interesting. I will probably get hold of the game. I haven't played Star Citizen. I've watched other people playing, but I should probably have a little delve right then, just to see how they're going and see where they are with that.
Frameshift drive charging.
Personally, though, I think for me, because of that long-term relationship with Elite, Elite is what I'm really interested in. I want to see them go the full what they call
3, 2,
Elite
1,
feat, the ability to fly down to all of the types of planets, not just the rocky ones we have now. Have a lot more richness to the storytelling. And when I say storytelling, I don't mean like pre-written stories, but just somehow to use the background simulator of Elite to build
fuel scooping.
dynamic stories that make sense to you as an individual. And I think that's totally possible. I think as much as we marvel at the landscapes that procedural technology can develop, there's absolutely no reason that, given enough time and enough imagination, that, and especially with things like quantum computing coming along now, that
Fuel scoop disengaged.
meaningful storytelling can actually happen between you and first and second and third level tier level NPCs to such an extent
Frameshift
that
drive charging.
you feel like you are living your own personal story in amongst thousands of other stories. And then you've also got the community going. You've got all of the
4, 3, 2,
narrative,
1,
the
engage.
overarching narrative going on behind you. So, that's I'm thinking about 5 years' time. One way or another, we will be looking at some amazing games. I'd really love Elite Dangerous to be there. It might be Star Citizen, it might be another game. Who knows? But I think
Fuel
we are
scooping.
in an incredibly exciting era of gaming. Now, where
Fuel
are
scoop
we?
disengaged.
We've got a long ways to go. And that's just the first stop-off point. That blue marker there, that's an outpost. So you can see how far I've come. That's taken me about an hour. Probably not. I would have done it faster if I wasn't streaming, I have to admit. Absolutely. Because it's very distracting trying to talk and play at the same time. This is all very new to me. If you want a bit of a history of my own, I'm a
3, 2,
bit of my
1,
backstory.
engage.
I'm actually a software developer, and I've been doing that for 25 years. And I actually got involved in the games industry in a small way in New Zealand. I became a director of a boutique gaming company
Fuel scooping.
who produced games for consoles and PC. They produced a game called Dot Clock on the PC. It was on Steam, it was on the PS3, and it was on the Wii. They've since gone away, but it was an interesting time, sort of kind of getting a much more of an appreciation of the hurdles of game development.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
So I have a huge amount of appreciation for what Frontier are doing. I wouldn't have the clue how to start and develop something with the complexity and technical challenges of Elite Dangerous. I just, I can kind of imagine how I would develop something like a first-person shooter or a
Frameshift drive charging.
RPG game similar to something like Diablo. I can figure out how that would come. I don't have all the artistic skills required perhaps for modelling and whatever, so I'd have to hire people on, but I understand how it would get put together. But this game with massively multiplayer online, 400 billion stars, an evolving galaxy, a background simulation, and you'll hear people poking holes in it and saying, oh yeah, well it's
Fuel scooping.
this, that and the other, but even just getting to where they are now, 2 years into development, 3 years into development, is just astounding, and I think they should be extremely proud of what they've done. Let me fuel reserves go down. So I cannot see at the moment. I go off and I try and play other games. There are a few other games I play, not very much. At the moment, I'm probably gonna get hold of Divinity Original Sin 2 because I got the original Sin 1 enhanced version, and I thought that was a pretty decent game. And also the other thing that I'm interested in with Divinity Original Sin 2 is that it's a DMable game. You can actually be you can run it like a normal pen and paper RPG, more or less, and that sort of thing appeals to me. I'm an old school guy, and also my son is a extremely talented voice actor, and he's a good DMer as well, so I think that's something we could do together, and any excuse to play with my son is a good thing. So that's one game I'm gonna look at. There is other games that I might possibly look at. I'm slightly more impressed with No Man's Sky than I was in previously, so if they start to get the multiplayer working, and I'm going to keep an eye on that one, because I think despite all the extremely negative feedback that they got,
Fuel scooping.
make me not fly into the sun. Despite all the extremely negative feedback that they got for the release of that game, I actually think they've actually now got a reasonable product. Probably doesn't still do all the things that they were claiming the original was going to do, but I think it's got a great art style. I think it's got promise, so I'm going to keep an eye on that one. That might be one I get involved in later down the line. Not quite there yet. I'm one of the other reasons that I love Elite in its portrayal of space and planets is the reasonable level of scientific accuracy. It's not 100%.
Frameshift drive charging.
If you talk to people who are astronomers, they'll quite often tell you that there's stuff that's not in the game or that isn't strictly realistic.
4, 3.
But by and large, it's based on
1. Engage.
rationale of science, and the distances are correct, the sizes of the planets are correct, the distribution of mass in a solar system is, well, you can say correct, but it agrees with what we've discovered so far. I mean, the recent discovery of the TRAPPIST system was pretty much in a place where Elite Dangerous had already plotted a system, and the system turned out to be reasonably similar as well. That's probably a coincidence, but it's still impressive. So I like the idea of, because my dad was a scientist and I've always been interested in science and astronomy. That appeals to me.
Disengaged.
The fact that it's pretty realistic. And that would be my only thing that might knock my enthusiasm for Star Citizen, is that it's not quite so realistic. I've got a feeling they're going to try and give as much science as possible, but I know that their planets aren't full scale, not totally full scale.
2, 1.
And
Engage.
as far as I know, they're not going to try and model the whole galaxy or anything like that. However, who knows? They may add that on as another stretch goal, or decide that they can do it. So there is just something innately fascinating to me about
Fuel scooping.
having a game that's built on a universe that's recognizable. I mean, if I look out in the stars at night, I can see Sirius, I can see Procyon, I can see Barnard's Star, I can see Barnard's Loop. So this is my world, and this is, I feel that there's been a lot of love put into that whole simulation. So whether you agree and think it's a good simulation or not, or whether you think that you're not interested in the science
Fuel scooping
and
complete.
really you're only interested in the gameplay, I still think there's a lot in this game for people. I would certainly recommend it to anybody who's ever had an interest in space or space sims or anything like that.
Frameshift drive charging.
Yes. No. Nothing interesting.
4, 3.
But yeah, I think that if something stupid doesn't happen and these games are allowed to continue, then I think in about my estimate is roughly about 5 years' time, we will be playing games that we just
Fuel scooping.
could basically live our lives in if we wanted to. And I don't think virtual reality is really up to the job of. I don't think you could really live in there, but if your life was just humdrum and you just hated your job,
Fuel scoop disengaged.
at least you could escape. I think escaping is one of the big things. Did I? Oops. Control flaking out again. That's better. No, nothing interesting. Alright, this is the last jump in the sequence. So what I'm probably going to do is I will see if hopefully we'll have a nice planet to land on.
Frameshift drive charging.
And we'll fly down and we'll settle down there. I always like to, when I end a play session, I do like to just be landed somewhere. I don't like to be out in the middle of space somewhere. So
4, 3.
we'll do that.
2, 1. Engage.
Knowing my luck, there will be no planets in the next one, so we might have to do an extra jump. That's okay. Alright then. Let's do it. Do a honk.
Fuel scooping.
Fill up the fuel tanks. We've got a few planets. Let's have a look. Where shall we land? Oh, these two are close together. That might be
Fuel
interesting.
scooping complete.
Alright, well let's land there. Yeah, so my intention is to be back in the bubble by the time 2.4 hits. I might even have a chance to... I quite fancy popping out to the Coalsack sector to have a look at the Coalsack Nebula. Because one of the things about the Coalsack Nebula apparently is that it has a lot of dark space in there. So you don't get all the ambient lighting on the dark side of the planets. So that'd be kind of cool. I'd like to see that.
Cannot comply.
And then, yeah, I'm going to have a look around, read all the forums, see what's going on, pick a side, if there are sides. At the moment, I mean, like, even when I was back in the bubble, I was always an independent pilot. I wasn't affiliated with any power, with any faction. I got friendly with the Federation just because I was doing missions in Federation space. I think I've even got a rank, I think. Actually, I can find out, can I? Silly me. Where are we? Yeah, midshipman. So I think that allows me to get the Federal assault ship or something. And one of the other things I want to do is get a multi-crew ship and get some people on board. Because actually one of the things I enjoyed when I was doing the multi-crew beta, I haven't done it so much since it went live, was just crewing up with random people and just talking to them and finding out more about them. Get me out of my social shell. So I'm just going to land here. Let's have a look, see if we can land somewhere on the Terminator. There's an interesting looking... Fly around the Terminator, see if we can find somewhere. Oh, there we go, we can go and land down in that crater there. 0.2 G, it's probably going to be about 0.5 by the
Orbital
time...
flight engaged.
Oh, actually, we'll go a bit further along. Now, as far as settings are concerned, I don't have it on very high settings. I just have it on high settings because it's a 1050. I'm playing in 1080p. It's only an i5 processor. But it's a fairly recent one, so it does pretty well, considering I'm streaming at the same time. Now, funny enough, there's been a lot of moaning about beige planets. This is not a beige planet. It's a grey one. So it does happen. They're not all beige. if you go on the ice planets, then you get quite a variety of colours. And if you're in a nebula, then the colours change again, just simply from the colours of the nebula itself. I think we'll land on that ridge if we can, on the rim of the crater. So you can imagine doing this kind of descent into an Earth-like world with all the seeing all the oceans and forests and deserts, and presumably fauna as well there. I mean, like David Braben, the CEO, has talked about going on big game hunts, so I'm guessing that they're intending to do full-on fauna. Hopefully better than No Man's Sky. Not that theirs is terrible, but it certainly could be better. And
Landing gear deployed.
ooh. Yeah, so there we go. Let's get out of me little buggy.
Low gravity warning.
Okay then. Just park myself up somewhere. I mean, it's just amazing the... let me just stick the handbrake on. Oops. Yeah, all my controls are kind of doing weird stuff, so it's a bit difficult to control. But just the vistas you get sometimes. This one's pretty tame, really, but I'm like, if you get a moon rising over there or a ringed planet in the background, it can be pretty amazing. Oh yeah. No, I usually get much smoother response from this game. Anyway, right, well, we'll call it that a day there, and the next one will be, I'll try and get to the station, and I'm on my way home, back to the bubble. All right, we'll call that a day.